Something I did accidentally that I now think was very powerful is that when Jimmy and I got married, we had been quarreling a lot before the actual wedding ceremony because we both had nerves. But I remember that day feeling in my heart, oh, I want to be with him for 50 years. And I had the number 50 years in my head. And we talked about it, and it was like, do you want to sign up for 50 years? And it was like, yeah, okay. And so we signed contracts, and the promise we made to the people who were there for the wedding was that we wanted to be together and that we needed that help. I remember very clearly we had lived together for about a year and a half before we got married. And I thought, oh, we're just getting married because it's the right thing to do for the kids. But no, getting married, to your point, Lynette, is a very different container. It is not cohabiting. It is committing to a set of actions that are not the same as dating and not the same as living together. The communications I want to talk about, to build on what you're saying about the importance of communications, just one area, I want to talk a little bit about communicating about money. When you were talking about showing your teeth, when you're dating, it's really easy. I mean, I have friends of all ages and friends who still date, and the talks about money are who picks up the tab for dinner, or do you share the bar bill? They're not what happens and how do we put our money in one pot or do we put it in several pots. It is so easy not to have that conversation because talking about money can feel yucky. You're going to have two different points of view about money because your values are different no matter what. You have to talk about money in terms of having pooled money and separate money. One of the things that really surprised me was when I found that Gen Z couples are more likely, even than baby boomers, to pool their income and have joint accounts. They are much more likely to have all their money together. And at the same time, they're much more likely to hide things from each other, to lie to each other. One article called it money infidelity, right? You're going outside the marriage to resolve a problem. And so if you have the habit early on of saying, here's what I've got, here's what you've got, here's what we're going to do to decide, here is, where we share goals, here is where we don't. That's almost like the equivalent for starting out your marriage by brushing your teeth. It's financial hygiene is a habit. And the longer you put it off, the worse it's going to be and the harder it's going to be to get started. I remember my honeymoon. Whoa, baby. I remember my honeymoon, and that memory has gotten us through some bad times. But when you get back from the honeymoon and you're working on doing what Lynette suggests, which is learning how to communicate with each other, because it's one of the biggest reasons couples break up, it's the second biggest reason, put on your schedules, invite your spouse, do whatever you have to do to sit down and plan to talk about money. How do we feel about money? What do we want to do with our money? Where do we believe that we're going to be able to work together?